The original definition of a point guard was someone who guards points. Of course, I'm just kidding. The original definition of a point guard was somebody who directs and runs the team's offense and gets the ball where it should be at the right time. But as the game continued to evolve, the definition of the point guard position evolved along with it as well. As we have seen in the last couple of years, point guards in the NBA come in all shapes and sizes. Small point guards, big point guards, and so on. It all started with classic small point guards. Then, well, big point guards started showing up, followed by textbook point guards who can really shoot, ankle-breaking point guards, athletic point guards, then big point guards come right back, and finally, you've got big point guards who can't shoot. But amidst this chaotic transition of point guards, which classification does Steph Curry fit in, and what makes him so different compared to all these types of point guards? Is he a better scorer than them, a better passer, maybe a better ball handler, perhaps a better dancer? Well, in this video today, we're going to dissect Steph's game to see what makes him so different from other point guards. If we want to know what makes Steph so different from other point guards, well, we should start taking comments about his game coming from other legendary point guards, like the 9-time All-Star Mr. Gary Payton. In the viewpoint of the Glove, Curry is not actually a point guard, but actually a combo guard who can do a lot more than just facilitating and leading the team. He's also talked about his uncanny ability to put points on the board while comparing him to other great point guards of his generation. So with Curry, I really don't think Curry is a point guard. You gotta understand that. To me, he's not a point guard. He's a shooting guard. He's a scorer. Is he going to be an all-time assists, top 10, top 5 or whatever? I don't think so. I really don't. Does Curry handle the ball all the time for the Warriors? No, he doesn't. He doesn't handle the ball all the time. He's coming off screens. Draymond handles the ball for the Warriors most of the time to get Curry off and to get Curry shots off. So to me, he's not a point guard, he's a two guard. It's like with Westbrook. He's a two guard. Now you gotta understand, to me, these guys are two guards. If you want to talk about point guards, that's Chris Paul, that's Rondo, they are point guards. I just don't see him as a point guard. I see him as a two guard. Now, if you want to consider him as a two guard, yeah, I think he's going to be one of the greatest scoring guards in the history of the game because he could score that thing. As a shooter, the same way. Right off the bat, GP explained that Steph is not your typical point guard that will pinpoint his teammates where they should be standing inside the court, nor bark out instructions on which play the Warriors should run. If you're one of those who love to dissect the Warriors game, you would notice that Draymond is actually the one who mainly facilitates their offense, delivering backdoor passes while Steph and Klay run around screens, being busy to get open. Now, I'm not saying that Curry is not a great facilitator and passer. I'm just highlighting what GP said about him being a score-first point guard. Speaking of which, let's delve deeper into Steph's greatest strength, and that is his shooting and scoring ability. From shooting the ball around his chin during his younger years, Curry worked hard to raise his release so that it'll be hard for defenders to block or alter his shot. And as you've seen throughout the years, Curry has become a lethal scorer and a big problem to the other 29 teams, as he can pull up from anywhere against any type of defender by generating power quite easily from the flick of his wrist instead of relying on his shoulders. As a testament to this, Curry dropped his highest scoring average last season with 32 points. He did this while shooting 48% from the field, 42.1% from three-point range, while launching 12.7 three-point attempts per game. In terms of his efficiency from long range, you might be shocked that the greatest shooter in history only ranks 6th all time with 43.5%. But if you're gonna consider the three-point attempts of those who were ahead and below him, they come nowhere near Steph's range. The most efficient three-point shooter in NBA history is actually Steph's coach, Steve Kerr, with 45.4%, but he only took about 2 attempts per ball game. This means there's a high chance that he'll get a higher three-point percentage since he takes fewer attempts and only on clean open shots. Meanwhile, Steph averages 43.5% from 3 while taking more than 8 3-point attempts a ball game for his career, more than half of those with a hand in his face. This stat only means that despite being a volume shooter, Curry can still hit them at such an efficient rate. Now, we already know how great of a shooter he is, but most of the time we tend to forget how good Steph is in finishing around the rim. According to advanced data that track the best rim finishers since the 2013 season, Steph actually places 5th, specifically in the 2017-2018 season behind LeBron, KD, Blake Griffin, and Giannis. His notoriety for being a legit outside threat allows Steph to easily skip inside the lane with just a simple head fake or a pump fake, which leads to an opportunity for those tough layups and acrobatic finishes that Curry usually makes. Over the course of several seasons, Curry has become a great rim finisher despite not being so tall. According to him, he had already been practicing inside finishes ever since he was young, because he knew back then that he had to be extra creative in finishing against the elite defenders in the NBA. I can't tell you how many times during middle school I'd be on a fast break and I'd jump into the guy in the paint and do a half 360 and float the ball behind his head. I made it probably one time. Every time I'd do it, I'd look at my mom in the stands and she's just like, "What the hell are you doing? Just do a layup." Now that we've covered Steph's offensive strengths, let us now go back and talk about the underrated facet of his game, which is his passing and playmaking ability. As of last season, Curry now has career averages of 6.5 assists. You might think this is a bit low compared to his contemporaries, but if you take a second look at it, you'll realize that there are only 39 other players in NBA history that bested Curry in this category. His highest assist output happened during the 2013-2014 season, where he averaged 8.5 assists a game. This just proves that Curry can still facilitate and, most importantly, make his teammates better while carrying the scoring load for the Warriors at the same time. Draymond eventually took over the facilitating and playmaking role for the team, but despite this transition phase, Curry still managed to average better than 5 assists in the succeeding seasons. When Steve Kerr was asked what makes Steph so unique compared to the current point guards and to those old ones who paved the way for him, Kerr highlighted the points that we just discussed are zeroed in on his special ability to be a two-way threat on the offensive end of the floor. Well, he's different. He's different from the point guards of Gary's era. He really changed the role of the point guard. Now, it's very rare to see a point guard that's not a great perimeter shooter. We all expect point guards now to be dual threats in terms of passing and shooting. So I think Steph, in many ways, changed the definition of a point guard. You can call him a combo because he's so good off the ball. That's really what makes Steph so amazing, is that he can turn into Reggie Miller off the ball, and on the ball, he is as good as anybody who has ever lived in terms of creating shots and creating offense for himself and others. Aside from wreaking havoc on the number side of things, Curry's greatness can also be felt beyond the stat sheet as he brings a different type of mentality every time he steps inside the hardwood court that other point guards don't possess. The late, great Kobe Bryant made comments about Steph's game and pointed out his ability to be in the moment during his crazy offensive barrage, which makes him a more lethal all-around player. I see a calmness about him, and I think it's something that a lot of players don't understand. I think it's really hard for the fans to understand what I'm saying because most players don't get it, but there's a real serious calmness about him which is extremely deadly. Because he's not up, he's not down, he's not contemplating what just happened before or worrying about what's to come next. He's just there, and when a player has the skills and has trained himself to have the skills to be able to shoot, dribble, left, right, etc., and then you mix that with this calmness and poise, then you have a serious, serious problem on your hands. And so when I watch them play, that's what I see. Speaking of the Mamba, did you know that Steph once embarrassed Kobe by hitting a long bomb despite being hounded? To know more about this incident and other interesting tales between these two great scorers, be sure to check out this video to see some untold stories between the Mamba and the Chef. It's a great video, guys. Click it, watch it, enjoy it, and as always, I will see you on the other side.